Remember when you were a kid? Those summer breaks that felt like they went on forever. Weeks stretched out into eternities. A single day was a massive adventure, full of endless discoveries, scrapes, and new games. But now, you blink, and another winter has come and gone. You look at the calendar, and it's already June. You ask yourself, where did the year go? It's not just you. It's a universal human experience. As we grow older, time seems to accelerate. It slips through our fingers faster and faster, like sand in an hourglass that's somehow been flipped upside down. But why does this happen? Is it just a trick of our memory? Or is there a physical, biological reality behind the way our minds measure the passing of our lives? To find out, we have to look at the math of a lifetime, a theory that suggests our perception of time is simply a matter of division. In 1897, a philosopher named Paul Janet proposed a surprisingly simple explanation. It's called the proportional theory. The idea is that we perceive a period of time relative to the total amount of time we've already lived. Think about it like this. When you are a 5-year-old child, a single year represents a massive chunk of your entire existence. Exactly 20% of it. So, to a 5-year-old, waiting a year for their next birthday feels like waiting a fifth of a lifetime. It's an enormous stretch of time. But when you turn 50, that same single year is just a tiny fraction of your life. Exactly 2%. Your brain compares the passing year to the vast library of years you've already experienced. And because that year is such a small portion of the whole, it feels short. By this math, the period between your 10th and 20th birthdays feels just as long as the period between your 20th and 80th birthdays. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? If this theory is correct, half of your perceived life is already over by the time you turn 20. But while the math of the proportional theory is elegant, it has a major flaw. If time perception is just a mathematical ratio, why does a boring afternoon at work feel like a week, while a busy weekend vanishes in a heartbeat? Clearly, math isn't the whole story. Because as it turns out, our brains don't count years. They count something else entirely: experiences. To understand why this is, we have to look at how our brains build memories. Every day, your brain is flooded with sensory data. Sights, sounds, smells, emotions. But your brain is also incredibly efficient. It doesn't want to waste energy recording everything. So, it uses a filter. And that filter is powered by novelty. When you are young, the world is a series of firsts. Your first day of school. Your first time riding a bicycle. Your first taste of snow. Because these experiences are new, your brain is on high alert. It releases dopamine, a chemical that acts like a highlighting pen, marking these moments as important. Your brain takes high-resolution, detailed snapshots of these events and stores them in your memory. Decades later, when you look back at your childhood, you see a dense forest of vivid memories. And because there are so many landmarks to look back on, your brain concludes that the time itself must have been incredibly long. But then we grow up. We establish routines. We drive the same route to work, sit at the same desk, scroll through similar feeds, and eat the same meals. When your brain encounters familiar situations, it goes on autopilot. It doesn't need to waste energy writing new code for a commute you've done 1,000 times. So, it simply stops recording. The dopamine pen stays capped. Instead of high-definition snapshots, your brain creates a single, blurry folder labeled routine. When you look back at a year of routine, there are no landmarks. No distinct memories to mark the passage of time. To your mind, that entire year collapses into a single point. You look back and think, that went by fast. It didn't actually go by faster in the moment, but in retrospect, the lack of new memories makes it feel like it vanished. While memory density explains how we look back at time, physics explains how we perceive it in the present moment. And this brings us to the speed of the brain's camera. In 2019, a mechanical engineering professor named Adrian Bejan proposed a radically different explanation. He argued that the acceleration of time isn't just a trick of memory. It's a physical consequence of our biological hardware. Think of your brain like a camera, capturing a series of mental images every second. These images are what Bejan calls mind time. When we are young, our brains are small. The neural pathways that transmit visual information are short, direct, and pristine. At the same time, a child's brain is incredibly active, processing visual data at lightning speed. This means the child's brain camera has a high frame rate. It captures a massive number of frames per second. Because a child is receiving and processing more visual frames in a single hour, that hour physically feels longer to them in the present moment. But as we age, two things happen. First, our brains grow larger. The neural pathways become longer and more complex. The signals have to travel greater distances. Second, those neural pathways begin to degrade. Just like copper wires wearing out over time, our neurons develop resistance. The flow of information slows down. The brain's frame rate drops. Instead of capturing 60 frames a second, an older brain might only capture 30 or 20. It's like watching a movie in slow motion versus fast forward. Because you are processing fewer frames of reality in a chronological hour, time seems to speed up. A day passes, but your brain only captured a fraction of the frames it used to. This means we cannot stop the biological clock. Our brains will continue to age, and our pathways will continue to slow down. But we aren't completely helpless. There is a way to hack our perception of time. If time compression is driven by routine and a dropping frame rate, then the antidote is simple, though not always easy: break the pattern. We have to force our brains off autopilot. Think about the last time you went on a trip to a completely new country or city. During the first few days, time probably felt incredibly slow. You had to figure out new streets, decipher a new language, try new foods, and look at unfamiliar architecture. Your brain was forced to wake up. The dopamine pen was working overtime, scribbling down details, creating hundreds of new memory checkpoints. You might have felt like you were away for a month, even if it was only a week. That is the power of novelty. You don't have to travel the world to achieve this. You can slow down time by changing your daily routes. By learning a new skill, reading a book that challenges your beliefs, or having a deep conversation with a stranger. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, you force your brain's camera to capture more frames. You write more code. You plant new landmarks in the timeline of your life. Time is the only currency we cannot earn back. We cannot change the ticks of the clock, but we can change the depth of our experiences. A life filled with routine is a short video played at double speed. But a life filled with curiosity, novelty, and learning is an epic film, stretching out in beautiful, slow-motion detail. So, take the long way home. Try the food you've never heard of. Wake up your mind. Because in the end, it's not the years in your life that count. It's the frames you choose to capture.